let's have a quick conversation about how to get your DOT physical and medical card. So it doesn't matter if you are a truck driver or you are, let's say, a cargo van driver, sprinter van driver, and you are doing OTR, among other things. You might need at some point a DOT physical and medical card. This is actually a federal regulation. So here are the considerations I really want you to pay attention to. So when we talk about DOT physical, I want to first talk to you about the DOT physical requirements. And those DOT physical requirements will actually it doesn't matter where you are at. It doesn't matter your state. It doesn't. Those are federal regulations. Okay. So I want to talk to you about what you need to know before your exam in terms of DOT physical. And it's really important to understand that a DOT physical is really a health examination mandated by the FMCSA for commercial motor vehicle drivers. So we are speaking about FMCSA, so that's a federal agency. And when we talk about a DOT physical actually helps determine if a driver is physically, mentally, and emotionally fit to operate a CMV. CMV, commercial motor vehicle. So I want you to really remember this trifecta. So as you go through the DOT physical, remember the three things I just mentioned. The federal government wants to make sure that when you are actually driving a CMV, that you are physically, mentally, and emotionally fit. This is really important for authorities, and you have to be really think about it. So when you go to your doctor, be very clear about that. So you got to ask yourself, am I physically fit? Right? I mean, my health, the last checkup that I have, do I drink? Do I drive? I mean, you got to really think about those things yourself before you go to a doctor, right? And the second thing is, are you mentally fit? In other words, do you have any problem mentally? Or are you dealing with stuff in your private life? Those are questions that only you can answer before even a physician can really sort of check up on you. And the third thing is, are you emotionally fit? Okay, this is really important because your emotions are going to be really critical when you are at the wheel. So if you are a commercial driver, you are a safety sensitive employee. Very important. That's how authorities look at you. And for your safety and the public's safety, FMCSA requires you to complete and pass a DOT physical to maintain a valid commercial driver's license. So you got to really have that so that you can maintain your CDL. So let's talk about who performs a DOT physical. I mean, I've already established that when we talk about DOT physical, we are speaking about federal regulations. So who is able to perform such a checkup? So the Department of Transportation sets the DOT physical requirements that a CMV driver must meet to pass their DOT exam. So this is really important to really think about that. And the FMCSA only allows certified medical examiners to perform DOT physical. So we are speaking about what? Physicians, doctors, and etc. So what you want to do is when you go to let's say a DOT physical facility, you want to make sure that the facility, the staff members at that facility have undergone extensive training and are certified by the FMCSA to actually perform DOT physicals. Okay, this is really important because you can't just be a doctor or a physician and say, you know what, I can perform a DOT physical. No. The FMCSA, the federal government, has to actually approve. They have to. The authorities have to validate the physician's ability to actually perform. Because see, when we talk about DOT physical, there are specific things that a doctor has to check during the DOT physical. I'll be speaking about that later on. But so the authorities just want to make sure that particular doctor, not only he or she has to be board certified, that's for sure, but he or she has to be in good standing, that's for sure. But he or she has the ability to actually perform the specific things that the government wants that physician to check. Now, one thing for sure, if you are listening to me right now and you are wondering where do I get my DOT physical, you can do two things. You can do a Google search, or you can go to your state's Department of Transportation, and actually there is a section that actually is dedicated to DOT physical and so on and so forth. Now, if you still can't find any way to actually any facilities to actually take care of you, please let us know in the comment section, and you just let us know where you are at, so your city and state, and we'll send you the address of a DOT physical facility, so you can actually go and get yourself actually validated by the authorities. Now, I want to go more granular. So, when we talk about a dot physical, what should you expect during the examination? Now, this is what I wanted to tell you a little earlier when I said the government knows that, hey, listen, not every physician can actually perform a dot physical because there are specifics that the government wants to make sure that they check during the examination. Okay, so during the dot physical, basically, you want to make sure a physician will check actually your vital signs, review your medical history, and perform a required hands-on physical examination that includes but is not limited to, and we're going to put this on the screen so that you know exactly. So the physician will actually do a physical examination that includes but is not limited to the general appearance, your eyes, your ears, your mouth and throat, your heart, your lungs and chest, your extremities, your nervous system, your hernias, and the back and spine. So see, the whole thing is that if somebody is really if you go to a physician and they're doing all that physical, don't get offended, don't get surprised. It's a regulation. The government wants to make sure that you are actually fit. Remember that what I told you a little earlier, right? You are mentally fit, you are physically fit, and you are emotionally fit when you actually are at the wheel. Because if you're driving a CMV, you are basically are a safety concern not only for yourself but also for the public. Okay, and what happens here is that once the physician actually goes through everything with you, he or she will issue a medical examiner's certificate. So MEC, also called a dot medical card. So basically, when I'm talking about passing a dot physical, it just means that you are receiving your MEC, your medical examiner's certificate. And so when you meet dot physical requirements, you get your MEC. And so without a valid dot medical card, you can lose your CDL. Be very careful there. So there is a strong correlation. I want to insist on that. A strong correlation between the validity of your CDL and the validity of your MEC. Now, this is important now. And basically, as of this year, CMV drivers with insulin-treated diabetes mellitus type 1 or type 2 and or monocular vision must meet updated standards to be certified. Forms for those exemptions must be completed at least 45 days before the dot exam is performed. Again, those are regulations. Those are the latest regulations when it comes to the dot physical. So when we talk about how to get your dot physical and medical card, and there are a few things I want you to really pay attention to. Now, first of all, when you go to the doctor, basically when you go for your dot physical, they will be doing something called sleep apnea testing. And this is really important because, listen, I mean, you don't want to, the last thing the government wants you to have is actually is to have a apnea while driving. That's crazy, right? I mean, that's really, especially if you are driving like an 18-wheeler, like those sort of big vehicles, that's kind of crazy. The government does not want you to sleep at the wheel. So drivers with undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea endanger their own lives, that's for sure, as well as the lives of others on the road. So the FMCSA does not explicitly require sleep apnea testing for driver certification. However, CMEs, so those are the physicians, they are required to test for respiratory dysfunction that may interfere with safe vehicle operation, including sleep apnea. Okay, and physicians who are not certified CMEs may not be aware of those criteria and may not be qualified to make recommendations that supersede those given by a CME. So if a sleep apnea study is ordered, remember that your safety is the driving factor behind that order. So don't take it personal. Don't get offended and don't say, I ain't doing it. No, you have to really abide by the law and just make sure that you are doing everything that you can to not only focus on your own safety, but also on the safety of the public. Because the last thing you want is to actually kill someone because of negligence. So now, one thing I want to say is that when we talk about sleep apnea testing, it also depends on your medical history, right? I mean, basically, do you have a problem with let's say like heart problems, obesity, like it really depends. So if you're fit, you should know yourself that I'm fit, right? But if you have some medical problems in your family or yourself or whatever, you have to even we have actually customers who are actually asking for a sleep apnea test themselves. Okay, they're asking the physician to do it because they just want to make sure that they have everything that they should be having. So the big question is, do you need a dot physical? I mean, that's a big question because you probably listen to me right now. And you're just thinking, listen, I'm driving my small car, my cargo van, my sprinter van, my box truck. Do I even need a dot physical? Well, the thing is that according to regulations, as of today, you are required to complete and pass a dot physical if you are in four categories of delivery drivers. And I'm going to be very slow here because I want to make sure that you get it. So there are four categories that if you are in one of them, you are required to complete and pass a dot physical. So if you category number one, if you operate a motor vehicle for interstate commerce with a gross combination weight rating, gross vehicle weight rating, or a gross combination weight of over 10,000 pounds. So we are speaking about interstate. So like, you're doing OTR from one state to another. If you're doing intrastate, it doesn't apply because you are in the same state. But if you cross state lines, then you have to be ready you have to be ready to meet that requirement. Category number one, I just said it to you. Category number two, if you operate a motor vehicle designed to carry more than 15 people, 14, no problem. 13, no problem. 12, no problem. But 15 people or more, you are required to complete and pass a dot physical. Category number three, if you are paid to operate a motor vehicle designed to carry more than 8 people. If you are paid to operate a motor vehicle designed to carry more than 8 people, you are required to complete and pass a dot physical. Category number three. Now, what are the category number four? If you transport hazmat, that required your vehicle to be placarded. So basically, hazmat, hazardous materials, and you need to actually inform the public that you're transporting something very dangerous. Then you are required to actually complete and pass a dot physical. Now, one thing for sure, getting your dot physical this year has never been easier. I mean, you might be thinking, oh, this is very complicated, this is very convoluted, whatever. No, it's not. It's very simple. You just have to actually speak to the right facility and actually have the right paperwork, and you are good to go, right? The bottom line here is that if you are going to do OTR, if you are going to transport a certain category of vehicles, you got to have it. I mean, that's just basically a criterion you have to fulfill before you actually work. So that's part of it's a work tool for you. Okay. So one thing for sure, you must pass all dot physical requirements to be cleared for your dot health card, right? So here is how the process works. Step number one, very simple. You want to schedule the exam. So as I said earlier, right? You have two ways. You can go on Google. You can actually search in your area, in your city and state, or even your county, and see what the dot physical facilities where they are at. Or you can contact your state's Department of Transportation, and they'll send you a list. The third option, and this is actually it's not a bad option either. You want to contact us? Just let us know in the comment section where you are at, your city and state, and we'll send you the address of the nearest dot facility. Okay, so that you can just drive 5 minutes or even walk there. You can walk in there and they'll take care of you. So step number one, you want to schedule the exam. Step number two, you want to get your physical. So the dot examination will include a health history review, a thorough physical exam captured in an online version of the medical examination report. And also, you have to actually, I'm showing you on the screen here what a medical examination report form is. You can see this on the screen here. So you can see that this is very, very thorough, very, very comprehensive. Again, government wants to make sure that you are fit. And so basically you have a health history review, a thorough physical exam, and a urine test for commercial driver fitness determination. Urine test is very important because the government wants to make sure that you're not taking any banned substances and that they should be aware of. So that again adds to the layer of security I spoke about a little earlier. So step number 3. So step number 1, you want to schedule the exam. Step number 2, you want to get your physical. Step number 3, you want to actually get your medical exam report. Okay, and what will happen here is that upon exam completion, your results will be reported electronically to the National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners. So again, when I was saying CME, this is a certified medical examiner. Okay, this can be a physician. This can actually be a nurse. I mean, you have all kinds of healthcare professionals who actually qualify to be CME. So what happens here is that they're not really sending this to you manually or via snail mail. They are reporting this electronically to the authorities, and everything happens through the National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners. And so certified drivers will receive a copy of the medical examiner's certificate. Okay, so you can see on the screen here. Here is how the certificate looks like. So your medical examiner certificate, and so you have everything: your first name, last name, and you have the name of the medical examiner, and you have the medical examiner has to sign the paperwork. Otherwise, the government is not going to believe you. Okay, so I want you to see right now. You can see that this certificate is very straightforward. It's a one-page certificate, very easy. I mean, you have to really. So when we talk about, that's what I was telling you a little earlier, that a nurse can be a medical examiner. So you have an MD, a DO, a physician assistant, a chiropractor, an advanced practice nurse, or other practitioner. So the government is really sort of flexible when it comes to who can be a medical examiner. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So one thing I want to say here is that what you want to do here is that you have to really ask yourself, do I need a DOT physical, a medical card this year for myself or for my drivers? So for instance, if you manage a team of drivers, you might be thinking about that too, because your drivers are basically your assets, right? So they are your most important assets, and you got to take care of them. They'll take care of you. So basically, maybe right now you have to contact a healthcare facility, to actually arrange for all your drivers to actually pass their DOT physical and medical examination. So in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about how to get your DOT physical and medical card. I gave you the considerations and now the conclusions. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.